Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I am Jonathan McNamara with JMU Sound Off. We are at the Marriott in UNC Charlotte, directly across from the stadium, where tonight the James Madison University Dukes will take the field for the first time in 252 days. Steve, a lot has happened in this offseason. Coaching changes, 60-plus new players to this roster. We're finally on a game day. Your thoughts just as we get ready with some special guests today that we're going to have on the show, just to celebrate another season of JMU football.
It's going to be a great one. This is a beautiful facility, beautiful hotel. It's not going to be beautiful for those guys at 8 o'clock tonight. 8 o'clock tonight, 49ers, it's coming, and it's coming hard. You thought that thunderstorm last night was hard? You wait till we hit the field, baby. We're coming hard.
Well, per usual, it's become something that you never want to take for granted. Massive sea of JMU fans have made the trip down to Charlotte from all points, north, east, west, but also a huge community of JMU supporters from the Charlotte area. We're going to have Michael Evangelisti. He's getting set in the green room right now to come on about the event last night.
He's getting his makeup taken care of.
But just again, another sign of the health of this program, having so many people invested, wanting to celebrate another season of JMU football, but to help launch this team into a season that we believe can be another special one in the history of JMU football.
Yeah, I mean, tons of support last night at the alumni event, tons of people in the hotel, tons of our people are here at the bar. We've got a lot of people coming up from Atlanta. A lot of people have come in from all over the country. A lot of people live here. So it's going to be a great event tonight with a bunch of our folks here. So we'll have a ton of the JMU people in the stands, having a great time at the Charlotte 49ers game.
So you're somebody who obviously has watched the growth and the maturation of this team through the spring, as well as obviously the camp. A lot of excitement centered around the fact that how quickly this team has come together and how much they've really embraced the challenges ahead of him with a coaching staff that's really made people the centerpiece of what this program is all about. That seems to be, when you hear from coaches across the country, one of the central questions leading into the season is how quickly can these teams gel? How quickly can chemistry grow? Your thoughts just on how quickly the staff has been able to build, again, a genuine team atmosphere and a genuine family that is going to really lead them into the season.
Yeah, I think the key that we're going to see tonight is what Coach Chesney and his staff have been able to do for the last 9 months, 8 or 9 months. They've been able to really coalesce everybody, been able to get everybody together as a true brotherhood. Every team out there will tell you they're tight, they're collected, they're all together, they're a brotherhood. That's not necessarily true, but it's very true when you see this team, and you'll see how this team is together. We've seen it during practices. We've seen it during scrimmages. We've seen it during just charity work. The charity work these guys have put in and how they're all together and have done such a nice job together as a brotherhood really does shine. And it does, when you see it on the field, that's what brings it all together.
Per usual, from your perspective, what happens on the field is obviously an important part of football game weeks, but it's also the bringing them together of a JMU community, old friends, alumni who have maybe never seen each other for a while, but there's also a group of people who come to every game, and you're seeing the social posts, you're seeing people really excited again about what this season represents in terms of so much more of a connection to something bigger than themselves. It's been really impressive to see over the last 24 hours of the posts coming, people wearing their purple, their school colors days, but then again to see that wave of people make the trip down to Charlotte, as well as so many people who are at viewing parties in other parts of the country, using this again as a way to celebrate James Madison University, and then also to highlight what makes this university so special, the community and the passion for this program.
Yeah, I mean, it's the passion we have with our fan base, and you see it on social media. When I say there'll be thousands of people here from JMU, we'll have thousands. And when I say there'll be millions watching from home, there will be. We are a brand. We're a national brand. That's why we're on ESPNU tonight. And the reason that they want to watch us is because we are one of the best programs in the G5. So fan base is great.
Well, with that, before we get to our first guest, we're going to bring on somebody who needs no introduction. Michael Evangelista, our other brother on the show, had a little bit of car trouble this morning. It's okay. You lived up the event last night in a big way.
That was fantastic.
So, Michael, first couple of minutes, we talked all of these. Obviously, what happens on the field is really important. We're going to get to that in a minute. But last night was really the perfect example of the JMU community coming together in a big way. Talk about the event that the Alumni Association hosted at the brewery. And just the celebration it was of not only the new leadership for this football program, the new leadership for the athletic department, but Jeff Bourne in attendance and so many supporters from the Charlotte area really just embracing the excitement around this season.
Yeah, first off, super excited to be here. wouldn't be a game day without some gremlins every now and then. But we're all here. We're all together. We adapt. We figure it out. We keep it moving. But no, last night was so much fun. We got to meet Matt Roan again. We ran into Steve Buckhantz, Mickey Matthews, Paula Pogles did a great job really hyping up the crowd. But it was a great way to really celebrate a new era, right? So Matt Roan was there addressing the crowd. There was a ton of new people there. Huge Charlotte contingent of JMU alums that were all represented, which they were super excited about. Shout out to our buddies Justin Partlow taking over the Charlotte chapter, by the way,
awesome
and really
job.
reinvigorating energy into that group. But it was a huge celebration. I think we're all excited. Steve, you alluded to it. We're going to have thousands of Dukes here today, and they're wearing gold. We're wearing purple. It's going to feel like a really good home atmosphere, in my opinion. But it was a great time. We celebrated. A lot of people were having a lot of buzz around the
Seen a ton of pictures of these posted, which has been
fantastic.
awesome.
But also like the people that maybe don't check their email as much, or maybe aren't on Twitter, aren't on Facebook, got to learn a little bit more about what the collective, what we were doing at Sound Off, and how we're evangelizing JMU sports all around. So it was a really fun night. Had a couple drinks afterwards with Jake and some of the guys. So it was a good time all around.
So Michael, shifting gears to what's going to happen on the field tonight. Again, a number of questions around every college football program in the country. In the era of the transfer portal, over 60 new players on James Madison's roster, over 70 new players on Charlotte. A lot of discussion about the team that wins tonight likely is the team that figures it out from a chemistry perspective the earliest in this game. What are you looking at when you look at the roster for JMU, but also across the field? A lot of questions about the Charlotte lineup. Who's going to be in the lineup? There's talk about multiple starters missing for Charlotte. But your kind of keys to how this game's going to focus in terms of the players on the field gelling quickly.
Yeah, I think let's start off with what you mentioned, right? 70 new players of Charlotte. We've got 60 plus new players. Our defensive coordinator, Lyle Hemphill, said it best in a conversation with Dave Riggard. What do you expect? He doesn't know what to expect, right? No one knows what's going to be on the field. Every player, majority of players that were there last year are not there anymore. And now we've got news of Biff talking about starters sitting out, 8 to 9 of them due to injury. I think this game is all about, who's going to get comfortable faster. And I was thinking about it this morning. What do we need to do? We need to win first down. All right. One of my buddies, Ryan, who we tailgate up in the convo lot, loves to say it 4 times.
Which your flag, by the way, has arrived. So there'll be a Sound Off flag flying in convo next Saturday.
Love it. 4 times 3 is 12. If we can win first down, stay out of the chains, we get into more comfortable situations. If we get into situations of 2nd and 12, 2nd and 14, 3rd and long, where they've got guys that can rush, we've got guys that got the rush, and now you're putting pressure around players that are in that position for the first time together, that's going to cause a problem. So we got to win first down.
We got the best offensive line in the country.
Love it.
So it's going to be difficult, I think, for them to stop our guys from blowing them off the line. I think our guys are going to open up holes. I think you're going to see 200. I'll predict 240 yards rushing tonight combined out of our guys. It's going to be a huge night on the ground.
Well, the best way to get 2 new quarterbacks obviously comfortable in the game, is we don't know who's going to start for JMU, is to have a great running game to get them into the game, get them comfortable. How do you look at this running back room in terms of what they can mean for the success of this program, both in the long term, but also today in the short term, as whoever gets the start at quarterback gets comfortable in this offense, gains confidence of both himself, but as well as his teammates?
Yeah. I think, it starts up front, right? Like Steve mentioned, we've got over 200 starts on the offense line across the board. Pat McMurtry, come from Holy Cross, started 3 years. He was all conference player. Jesse Ramiel started, I think, 2 years at St. Francis, all conference player. But I think for us, it's like a heavy dose of AO, heavy dose of Petaway. But how are we going to create matchups on the outside? I forgot who it was. I think it was Dean Kedder, offensive coordinator, says, modern college football is all about matchups and creating a numbers game. Can we throw the quick bubble screen? Can we attack them around the edges? It's not necessarily do we have hat on hat, but can we attack them where we have 2 corners outside when we're in the 3 wide receiver set? Throw a quick bubble to Cam Ross. Throw a quick bubble to Taji. Get the 4 or 5 yards. Get in front of the chains. I think whoever can manage that chess match, who's coming, who's going on defense, is going to be really key to today.
Is there something you've seen in the past from Bob Chesney coach teams, from Kennedy coach teams, in terms of how they use the running backs in creative ways, not just as traditional backs, but putting them in the slot, using them in the passing game? And how could that be a factor in, again, getting a young quarterback or a veteran quarterback, whoever makes the start, comfortable early on in this game?
I think when you look at the last 2 or 3 years of a Holy Cross team with Chesney, he really tries to maximize his talent, right? When they had Sluka, It was a very QB1 run first scheme. He goes down, they go into a 4 or 5 wide receiver spread. I look at a guy like Purdy, sort of he comes on here from Holy Cross. We don't really know what his role is, but when I look at his tape, it kind of reminds me, and here's for all the New England fans, Patriot fans, like a Danny Woodhead, like Kevin Falk, comes in on third down, gets the 5 or 6 yards when you need 4. He's that type of player. And I think that's the type of offense we'll see from Chesney. Take the plays that are in front of him. Don't force anything down the field. We don't need to, right? Control the time of possession. I think that's what we're going to get. And once again, it's a matchup game. We've got quick guys in the outside. We've got very versatile tight ends that can provide matchup problems. And we need to spread these guys out. They've got some beef on the inside. I have no problem. We can handle it. But how do we get them running laterally? Get them tired. It's going to be a hot day. I know it's 8 o'clock. It's going to be warm and humid. I think that's going to be a really big key to the game.
And again, if you're watching this feed, let us know where you're tuning in for the game today. If you've got questions, you want things you want us to address on the show, let us know in the comments. We'll be sure to highlight those as we go throughout the broadcast. With that, Steve, who is your kind of maybe a player on offense or defense that you're focused on that it could be a game changer in terms of the outcome of today's game? Is there anybody that you are kind of focused on as we lead into Saturday?
Yeah, the defensive ends, looking at both of those, and Bush in the middle, along with Chris, Chunky Butt in the middle. Really looking at, I watched the line play, and it's going to be our tackles. Both of our tackles on the offensive line will be key tonight. Both of them are massive guys. And I think with them anchoring with Cole Potts kind of and Tanner, really working all that stuff out, I think they're going to be really gelling well tonight. And that's what I'm looking at.
I'll add to that too, John. Like, you think about last year where we had a lot of guys that we knew their names at the end of the season. We didn't know who they were at the start. And I look at the Max Mosses, the Wayne Knights, the folks like guys.
How many
like
people
that.
knew Elijah Stratt's name?
He was on
game one?
He was on the third team.
But nobody thought Reggie Brown was going to be a breakout star.
Who knew?
Nobody.
So it's those types of people I'm really excited. It's the Taji Hudsons that battled hamstrings over the last couple of years. The Taylor Thompsons. Like, how are we going to leverage those resources? I think those are the guys that have a chip on their shoulder. This is a statement game. It's the first game. It's the game. I think they're going to be pumped up and ready to rock and roll.
Awesome. And with that, we are going to get to our first guest of the night. This is a very special edition of our Montpelier Collective Athlete Spotlight. A blast from the past, somebody who's going to be no stranger to our audience, but somebody who I think is uniquely capable of speaking to not only the moment that we're experiencing today, but the history of James Madison University football. And with that, we're going to get to our Montpelier Collective. And with that, we're back with our first guest of the evening, Mr. Joe Shoker, an alumni of JMU football and a proud supporter who has really secondary to none in terms of what his family's impact has meant to this football program and the university as a whole. Joe, first of all, welcome to Charlotte. My first question for you is an obvious one. This is just another season in the proud history of JMU football. You're somebody that I think speaks so well about the historical context that these events happen. Just where is your head at today as we lead into, again, another season that brings people together and another season we think is going to be very exciting for the history of JMU football?
It is indeed very exciting to be 50 plus years into a football program, and a football program that started on a grass field beside Godwin Hall with one set of goalposts back in the 70s. And I was very honored and very proud to be on the team in the late 70s. We were a Division III team, and we were ranked #1 in the nation with CW Post while I was there. We were the first Division III football game on ABC Wide World of Sports when we played the Squids from Hampton Squidney, our arch rivals. And the rest is history. We've had such a great walk, and coming here to Charlotte after 2 years of probation with the NCAA and having incredible teams, but not getting the respect we needed, except from the whole nation's football fans and ESPN GameDay and all that. It's kind of the culmination of a walk, of a journey with a lot of quality people, a lot of quality students and fan base, a lot of quality players, and a lot of quality coaches who receive Coach of the Year honors. And we're extremely excited about Bob Chesney and what he's brought to the program this year.
Talk a little bit about your history with your dad and Dr. Carrier, because they were the guys that really had the vision. Your dad and Dr. Carey were the ones sitting in the lawn chairs in Godwin. Talk a little bit about that, how proud both of them would have been to be able to see this.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Dad was a entrepreneur and business owner here in the Harrisonburg area, and he and Ron hit off a friendship early on when Ron came to the Valley, because Dad was a food service, and JMU was a monstrous customer of Dad's, and Dad helped him set up the hotel and restaurant management program, which we now know is the Hart School of Hospitality. And interesting enough, I graduated with G.J. Hart from Harrisonburg High School in 1970. So we're classmates. But yeah, Dad and Ron, Uncle Ron, Dr. Ron, they formed a friendship and a partnership that spanned decades. And last night at the alumni event, I spent the last part of the evening, and it was almost empty, with Mickey Matthews, Coach Matthews. And my father and Mickey were good friends. And I'll never forget, and I mentioned this to Mickey last night, after my father passed in the summer that we won the national championship that fall, I heard this knock at our front door, and I went out to the front door, and there was no one there, but down on the concrete in front of the door was a shirt in a plastic bag, and there was a sticky note on it, and it said, "You're next, Mickey." And I'm sitting there, tears running down my face, where he had brought the shirt that he always got Dad. He brought it to me. So friendships, lifelong friendships, legacy, generational friendships. And really, there's so many people in the JMU Nation that have those same kind of relationships with their parents and their kids and grandkids. And I posted a picture today of my grandchild, which is 4 generations of JMU Duke fans. So very special relationship.
Did you mentioned Mickey, and his re-engaging with the program comes as we approach the anniversary of our first national championship at JMU. To have him there last night and to be only a week away from celebrating that program, it's kind of a special coming together of again, the team that launched this program into another stratosphere, and that energy is still being felt at events like this, on podcasts like this. I doubt we have Champions Drive without the 2014, and we're certainly probably not sitting here in this context today without Mickey's efforts and without the program's efforts on that day in Chattanooga.
Well, Mickey was if I'm not, maybe I am correct, maybe not, but I think Mickey was the second or maybe first long-standing head coach in the program. More so even than maybe Chalice was, who was my head coach. And Mickey came in and inherited a program that was kind of fledging, just kind of sitting on the shelf waiting to get good. And he quickly brought them up to speed. And then our national championship, even, we were not supposed to do that. We were not supposed to get that far along. But his coaching and his coaching staff, from Coach Price to Coach Newsom, and all the great coaches he had, he established the national class, national presence that we know today. And we're very pleased and proud of what they did for that first national championship.
So, Joe, wanted to lean in on your expertise here a little bit. There's been a lot of buzz around JMU on special teams. We've got an all-American punter, arguably one of the best punters in the country, in Ryan Hansen. We've got 2 or 3 new kickers that we brought in that are knocking letters off the stadium, hitting literally knocking letters, hitting 70-yard field goals cold. Walk me through that. Well, tell us a little bit. You've had a chance to be close to the program. Like, tell me a little bit about like an impact like that, and what would it be?
I've attended several practices, and I was out there on a Saturday morning, and Hansen was doing hurry-up drills inside of his own 10-yard line, where you got a big rush, and if you mess up, it's a safety or a touchdown. And he was quick-stepping, 2 quick-step punting, and I had my clock going, and he was getting 4 to 4.5 second hang times on quick steps.
Guaranteed fair catch.
Even if he didn't turn it over, he has such a strong leg that he has a pro leg. He's kicking that ball so far down the field, and I don't know if I was standing with you or somebody else, but I'm like, that's a pro leg. And the place kickers, they have 3 kickers. Our specialty room is looking good. They have 3 long ball kickers that have big range. And having kicked in that stadium and kicked on the east end into the goalpost, I can tell you that if your place kicker is kicking the ball so high, it's hitting the Jumbotron screen,
You're in good shape.
you're in real good shape. And I talked to Matt Transu, and I said, Matt, you got to come up with a net or some plexiglass stuff up there, because these guys are going to break up the Jumbotron. So
If you're ever at practice, do not stand under the scoreboard when those guys are kicking.
That is a safety hazard.
They are not a sticker.
No, if
No.
they hit those things that weigh 10 pounds, those letters, they come down and hit you. It's a waiver of liability. I'm just telling you now, we are not responsible for that. I just gave you the warning.
I got to tell you, the C that came down is smack dab in the middle of the uprights. Now, they said they hit the Z one time in Zane, and I looked at him, I said, they don't want to be over there. He goes, no, they're not over there very often, but they're hitting that C a lot.
What an advantage, though, right? When we look at Coach Chesney's background, I think he led the Patriot in block kicks, block punts. Like, special teams is a big part of his MO.
And he puts athletes on special teams
100%,
in a big way.
exactly. We find ways to maximize athletes, whether they're starters or not. I think that's a major component and advantage for him.
To the point where apparently his younger days, he will get out and kick and punt in the drills sometimes with the team. How crazy!
I still want to see our Harry O'Kelly showdown with Bob Chesney.
Chesney can kick. Chesney can kick. He actually can punt. I was surprised how far he could punt. He can punt that thing about 40 yards.
So my question for you, Joe, is what's in front of us? We've had a very successful launch of Champions Drive. Not only is the bourbon a big piece of this, but what this represents, again, is the championship spirit that is not only in our football program, but that goes throughout all of our athletics programs at JMU. How proud of you have been to see the response to this product, but also to see that it's another vehicle to bringing people together, and then ultimately its contribution to helping to grow the Montpelier Collective, which is really what this is all about, is making sure that our athletic program has the resources necessary. People may wonder why we talk about this so much, is because we need to increase support. Speak to that or any other aspect of what this has meant for you.
Well, we conceptualized this along with my buddy Jake, an Alpha Dog and a board member, a year ago. And then when we decided to push the green button and the go button, we spent 9 months of development in this. Many nights in cars driving home in the night on the phone, talking about names and series and how we can market it, and went through a lot of legal processes on the name and the copyright and the mark of the name we chose. And the name Champions Drive just came to us, I think it was late one evening, because we had looked at Bluestone, but the copyright people said, no, you can't use Bluestone. So we chose Champions Drive, and it was even hyphenated a -S to make it more unique. But the lawyers at the end, literally 2 weeks before the label went to print, said, no, you get rid of the hyphen.
You're going to blame me on that one.
So anyway, Champions Drive is a road that leads into Bridge Forest Stadium, and it was the perfect name. And we wanted this to reflect the fan base. We wanted this to give a shout out to our fans and our patrons. And we thought through that. I said, how can we do this? And they said, well, what's the most incredible passion pump moments in JMU football games other than the game? And I said, the tailgates before the game, and the lots, tailgate, the Godwin lot, the F lot, the P lot. So that's where we came up with the naming. And the liquid is high quality. We did the barrel picks with our supplier Swill Dog Distillery, and the double oaked, wheated, 107 proof reflects a lot of other good bourbon in the industry. And I've actually blind tested them, and ours did very well in the blind test. So we are extremely proud of the bottle, the label, the name, what it personifies, and the whole narrative story of JMU is about the drive of champions. We have been champions in so many sports, been national champions in quite a few sports, and it just personifies our fan base, our coaching staff, our administration. The whole JMU experience is the drive of champions.
And then again, if you're somebody watching this, I want to drive this point home one more time. we keep focusing on this because to compare ourselves to a program like Charlotte, there are many group of 5 programs with very robust NIL collectives, north of $1 million that they can give directly just to one of their programs. And that's why the more we can raise awareness about the need for everyone who's watching this to make a contribution of whatever they can, whatever fits their budget. There is no wrong amount. It directly affects success on the field. And as something Coach Chesney has said, there's never been a time where you, the fan, can make more of an impact, not only the football program, the basketball program, our volleyballs, field hockey, soccers, than you can right now. And at championsdr.com, when you purchase a Champions Drive tailgate burger, you're impacting our ability to be successful on the field.
I think you made a big point is for a lot of younger fans, younger alums, it's how do I make a tangible impact? I think now more than ever, this is an opportunity for that. I don't know if you guys were watching Game Day this morning. Saban made a big point. It's like, if you don't pay the right guys, you're SHIT out of luck.
We can say that on the internet.
Right? Okay,
so
we're shit
out of luck.
But you also, heard what McAfee did.
Exactly.
McAfee gave
100%.
$1 million yesterday to West Virginia's NIL.
Exactly.
Yes, and we don't have somebody that's going to give us $1 million.
Yeah.
But we got thousands and thousands of you out there that can buy a bottle.
I feel like we got to call
yet.
him back though after
the
the performance we had for Game Day last week. We don't maybe say $1 million, but we got to get something.
You got to get something.
Give us $200,000, Pat. Come on, Pat. $200,000.
I want to make a kind of closing comment on our bourbon project. We're at about 300 bottles left. After everybody's receiving them and tasting them, which is happening this week, and after the home game next week with all the tailgates, this will be gone in the next 2 weeks. And this was a blended run of 1,200 bottles. And once it's gone, it's gone. Now, we have 2 others coming this year. We have a winter release and a spring release. And we have great hopes and expectations for those. But of our barrel picks, this was the best pick of 6 different barrel picks. And that's why we put it up first, because we wanted to bring you our best first and kind of set the brand. So it's time to order. If you haven't ordered this, and I've talked to so many people that haven't ordered it, and I'm like, dude, they're like, well, can you get me some? Can you hold me a bottle? I'm like, no.
Buy your own.
Go online to championsdr.com and put your credit card in there. It will ship to your door from New York State. And let me give you a little tip. If you're busy during the day and there's no one home, send it to a location where somebody can sign for it, because you have to be 21 to receive this, and that'll eliminate some issues there. So send it where someone can sign for it, and don't get 1 bottle, get 3.
So get it as a gift.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. It's the
watching,
gift
right?
that keeps on giving throughout tailgate season.
Like, tell your friends, tell your family, get your uncles involved, get your aunts involved. Like, I mean, I've had a number of glasses of this.
You can give up a couple
it's
Starbucks.
Fantastic.
So you can give up, if you drink Starbucks every day, give up a couple of those, put it toward the bourbon, buy the bourbon. The bourbon's unbelievably good.
What the viewers can't see is we had a rolling bar that was going to bring some Champions Drive into the show, but some issues with our host here.
I think the home team,
the hotel staff didn't like the fact we had our own liquor.
They're rattled
on a bar that was coming in.
Joe, your final comments, but did you get to actually do the task of picking who our next guest is from the Peanut Gallery? So I don't know who you want to toss the mic to, but we'd love to have some of the other supporters join us on the show.
Okay. Well, last comments are, we're here in Charlotte. We're on ESPNU tonight at 8 o'clock.
Prime time.
Streaming on that. We have many more games this year that'll be on ESPN, and JMU football and the James Madison University is the gem of mid-major athletic departments. Our academic prowess is nationally known, and we invite everybody to dive in and associate with JMU, attend our games, our tailgates, get on campus. The recruits, when they get on campus, they're like wide-eyed saying, oh, my gosh, I had no idea. So we love JMU. We bleed purple profusely. I'm on blood thinners, so I bleed purple a lot more. But it's all good. And join us in the future on Sound Off podcast. And I want to bring up a friend of mine that was involved in the Bourbon Project, Jake. And Jake's going to come up here, and Jake's an entrepreneur and a JMU grad, and kind of a tough guy. But the creative energies in producing this with Jake were stellar and epic. So here we go.
Come on, Jake.
Ladies
on
and
up here,
gentlemen,
Jake.
Mr. Jake Coons.
Sam Crow Motorcycle
Thanks
Club.
for
Come
the
on.
introduction.
Jake obviously gets extra points because of his choice of attire today.
Look at
which-
that.
I've been
Yes.
repping this thing for a while.
Which
Love the
you
mustache.
can
Look at
get
the
at
mustache.
JMUsoundoff.com if you're liking what he's modeling today.
Well, I was gonna say he should get 3 more glasses too.
He
at
gets
the
whatever
same
he wants
time.
at this point.
There was a little bit of a problem earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Well,
took
yeah.
care of it.
So, Jake, just high level, your thoughts and excitement for another season. You have the pleasure of getting to know a lot of these players because of your involvement with the collective, your involvement in athletics as a whole. This is kind of the celebration, the kickoff of a new athletics year. There are other JMU teams who have been winning on the field already, but it really starts the year when our football team kicks off. Your thoughts just on the new athletics season?
I mean, great question as always, Jonathan. But with so many new folks, it's been tough. So even for some of us that get access like this, still getting to know everyone, still getting to learn what's going on. And Michael and I last night, I don't know if he's talked about it yet, we had a very spirited debate over some beverages about the team.
It's very spirited.
Very
Which is
spirited.
what it's all about.
Very
Full of
spirited.
spirit.
The,
I think that's
the
what-
bickering and the back and forth in the debates is why we
It-
started this show.
It was
Ah,
a
take
little bit of bickering. He was being nice and going, I hear what you say, but I don't agree. But I think in
Respectful.
general, I don't know what to expect today. And I think it's the same, the first time we moved up the FBS, didn't know what was going to happen in that game. I feel good, but I'm not sure why yet. I mean, we're going to see what's going to happen at 8:00 tonight, how this team comes together.
So one thing that I think you might do better than anybody that I talked to about this is you challenge this fan base. You challenge them to find new and creative ways to get involved. That's the thing that I appreciate from you as a friend, is that you're always thinking about what's the next way that we can take this to another level. Now you have a platform with people watching it. Kind of your message to the fan base about why them stepping up to another level, to embrace what this program not only has been but can be. I'm curious what you would say to an audience watching now about why this is a moment that's so critical to the success of this program.
So look, I went to JMU, had a good time, went away, did my master's, but I was really not that connected with JMU for a while, to be quite frank, right? And so a lot of you guys will talk about, I was at this game, and I'm like, I don't know, I was doing something else at that time, I don't know. But I've reconnected. I'm a townie now, which is interesting. I never thought I would say that when I was a student, but loving living in Harrisonburg.
You don't look like the average townie.
Well,
I don't think Jake looks like the average anything.
I'm a townie. So I would say for those that haven't reconnected yet, time is now, right? Reconnect, get back involved. It's a great community. I run into so many people that are like, I haven't been back. And I'm just kind of shocked, right? And same thing with giving too. Like for a long time, I wasn't even a member of the Duke Club for a long time. So I think the time is now. Everyone, if you're, Steve says it all the time and challenges you guys, but I think the same. I just say from a different perspective. I was disconnected and felt like, why would I give them any damn money? Why would I do that? Why would I get involved? And then I started to, and it's been great. And I think it's great for the community. I think it's great for me and my family reconnecting. And I would say now's the time. Get involved. You won't regret it.
Well, let's lean in on that a little bit. I think your story resonates to a lot of our listeners, maybe our friends of our listeners, of like, hey, I love JMU. I left. I built my career. I built my personal brand. Now I want to come back. So what brought you back to JMU? I met a lot of new Duke Club reps last night, and they were asking, I feel like we need to understand, what is it about JMU? So you share with the fans, share with us, what brought you back to the program?
Well, I have to give my wife credit, actually.
It's always a smart move, by the way.
It's the truth, though. Look, I still Richmond. I still love Richmond. I still have a house in Richmond. I'm there all the time. But my wife was getting slightly annoyed with Richmond, to be quite honest. And she was looking at places at JMU, found this house she loved, and she was like, you said you always wanted to get back to JMU. And that's what started it. I mean, my kids are in school now there. I mean, so we're, again, I say we're townies. It's real. So she started that. And then we started, connecting with the people, and the people they don't call it the friendly city for no reason. It really is a great place. But, going back to all the games, we're going all women's sports that we can, women's basketball, men's basketball, football, everything. And it's just been great reconnecting. So it's hard to put into words, but that whole feeling that you get of going to school there in JMU Nation, like it's still there when you, as an alumni, come back, right?
But I want to thank you and Joe, but for you guys, really with the partnership you guys put together, I know Cliff and Jonathan were involved, but the two of you spent many a night rumbling and going over this bourbon and getting this bourbon where you wanted it. And I know it's a labor of love, but I want to thank you for doing that. I think this will go down in history as something that we'll look back on 10 years from now and say, what a great idea that was. And it really is. So I want to thank you for that. And, we already thanked Joe, but I want to make sure we recognize you as well.
It's delicious, by the way. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be on camera.
It's apple juice.
It can be. It's okay.
Just a little.
It's apple juice.
Yeah,
Real quick, I just wanted to highlight one thing you said, because you talked about the support for the women's programs as well on campus. We saw JMU volleyball get their first win of the season yesterday. We saw JMU field hockey kicks off their first season in the MAC with the victory. This isn't just about supporting our football and basketball programs. This is about supporting our women's programs, which have had incredible success over the decades, but incredible success recently. And these programs are something that you have really put your personal support behind in the big way. I know you're out at JMU softball games on a regular basis. To fans of those programs, why is collective investment so important now as well, as we, again, try to put wind in their sails for a new season?
Yeah. So with the collective hat on, look, we want to support every team. It's no secret that men's basketball and football get a lot of attention. There's so many other amazing athletes and programs. So when you go to the MontpelierCollective.com, you hit donate, which I hope you all do, you can choose the fund. You can choose where you want that to go to. But things like Champions Drive, that goes to our general fund, which is great. And then from there, we're allocating and working with all the sports. This year, we're really trying to add a lot more athletes and a lot more programs. So
and what we heard from those coaches is that is truly the difference between winning and sustaining success in this new environment, as more athletics programs across the country are making significant investments in the quote unquote Olympic sports. And our programs, we want to make sure that they continue to have that national brand, that national success, and that takes investment from all of us.
And we all know that the landscape's changing, right? I think as early as next year, we'll go from a roster of 120 to 105. Do we fund the 105 scholarships up from the 85? There's a lot going into it. So I think starting now, building that culture is super important. But thinking about today, Jake, who are you excited to watch in JMU tonight against Charlotte?
You know what?
Any specific players?
I'm going to be the reporter right now. I'm going
Let's
to
do
change
it.
this up.
Let's
I
do it.
like it. See, this is the innovator.
When we're on offense, we get out there. What's the first play? Is it a run? Or is it a pass?
And we've all, by the way, had a chance.
This was a spirit. We have a gentleman's wager on this.
But we've also had a chance to play our EA College Force 25. So all of
Yes.
us have been coaches over the last couple of months. I'm going to take it. I'm going to change this question. What was your first play when you fired up the game against Charlotte? And do you think that translates to today?
My first play was an RPO bubble screen.
No,
And I love the RPO package.
You
All
learned
my
the
friends
option
does.
before you were able. I couldn't figure out the button on how to not get the
modern
button.
college football. So I pushed circle as hard as I can. I threw that screen pass.
So that's
and
why
we
you're
got
sticking with that play.
We got 4 yards out of it. And that's going to be
There
the
you go.
first play of the game.
I still
We're gonna
can't
pull the
figure out
ball.
how to not hand it off. So you're going to have to tell me off screen how to figure that out, because it has not been a
What's your take,
successful
Jonathan?
program.
Run or
What's my
pass?
first?
John's gonna quarterback keep to the right.
No, what I'm going to say is I think whoever starts at quarterback, one of the key things in this game is to set them up for success and to get them confident they're on the game. So I'm running the ball with my first play, and then I'm trying to do, again,
Charlotte
some sort of
knows
short or intermediate pass to either a running back or tight end. I think the tight end
Run
group,
the damn ball.
I think the tight end group for this team is a group that maybe hasn't gotten the attention from a lot of fans, but I think it's actually an area that I really like. Kai Wright, Taylor Thompson. There's a lot, Drew Pfeiffer. There's a lot to like in this group. That again, it could be a really great way to build confidence for a quarterback. Is a throw to the tight end. Maybe that's my first play of the game. Is change it up. Maybe a play action pass to one of our tight ends.
We're not doing that. We're going old Washington, old school. We're going right down your throat.
Run.
So
It's
get
all
ready
personnel.
for it. You want to get ready for it? We're
Hey.
coming.
I'll say there's a variety of ways to quote unquote run the ball.
All I hope
And
is
as
that our
long as you
coaches.
get it to the guys. That's all I care
Not only
about.
do I hope this is the case, but I know it's the case. They're not listening to us knuckleheads for what the first play of the
We have
game
a
is.
gentleman's bet, $1. I say they're running the damn ball first play.
He's
got this bubble screen for 4 yards.
Can we go double or nothing on that?
I'll tell you who they're going behind. They're going right behind McMurtry.
Oh,
That's who they're going behind
the
first
right
play.
side. A lot of beef on the right side.
Cliff says Cole Potts from
All
the
right,
audience.
so Jake, maybe last thoughts, but then you get to introduce our final guest of the show, Mr. Cliff Wood. I know we all have a chance to work with him on a very regular basis to champion this athletics program and the investment in it. Pretty special guy to welcome as our final guest.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate what you guys do. You've brought a lot of attention to the collective, JMU. It's fun. I'm looking forward to you guys doing some cool new stuff this coming season too. So
thanks, Jake.
With
Thanks,
that,
Jake. The nature boy.
Yeah,
Cliff Wood.
I mean, some of you know this, but without Cliff, this
kind of a big
collective
deal.
wouldn't be doing nothing. So
100%.
Cliff's been huge, and we appreciate it. So
100%.
there you go, brother.
Thank you.
First of all,
nice shirt.
Cliff Wood has the best
Shirt.
shoes in the game
That's
right
right.
now.
Great
So
looking shirt.
This is
We're
the
brothers
this
of the pair.
This
I
is
need to
the
get a pair of
Montpelier
those.
Collective non-athlete spotlight. Joe's up here. He's got KT tape on, like he's been running a marathon.
We're all
before he
taking
got here.
supplements, and
That's right.
we're
Like he was
getting old.
kicking field goals right before he got up here.
Cliff, my first question for you, it's kind of the first question we ask everybody, is just a new year. There's been a lot of work that's happened behind the scenes, all of our coaches to get so many new players ready for this. You've had the chance to get to know a lot of these players. More than anything that happens on the field, just kind of speak to the focus on bringing good people into Harrisonburg and why we all think that that's going to translate into helping this team gel quicker in the year.
I mean, I think you can look at it just like you would look at a job that any of us have. Like, how excited are you to go to work with your coworkers? And all of us have probably had jobs where you look at the schedule and you go, oh, geez, Steve is working my shift today. It's a long day. But when you look
Calling
at that
sick.
schedule, right, you look at that schedule and you're excited to go to work every day, that means a lot. And I think the big addition with Coach Chesney, and you've been around him a little bit, Jonathan, he prepares for everything. When the guy watches his own press conference to get notes on himself to go to the Sunbelt meetings, I think that speaks volumes. If he's going to do that, what do you think he's doing for game day preparation? Like, a lot has been said about, well, we got to prep for 70 new players on the other team. He's probably scenario planned for every one of those people playing. And so I think his level of preparation trickles down to the other coaches and the players. So, I'm very confident. And look, this is just one game. Long term, I feel great, very bullish on where we're going with him at the helm. And look, I feel that way about all of our coaches. Whether it's men's basketball, field hockey, you mentioned their big win the other night. Like, we have really good coaches. So,
yeah, what I love about Chesney, I think just like other coaches we've had, he lives and breathes football. I think on our press conference, he mentioned, he was 7 months without his family. They were still moving down to Harrisonburg. A bunch of coaches living in a frat house, literally living and breathing the game. And to your point, like, Charlotte's got 70 new players. He was talking about, they were pulling high school tape. They were pulling practice tape from prior schools. Okay, what does this right tackle can do? And if you look down the line of the Charlotte's depth chart, a lot of games played, not a lot of games started. So the ability to really go to that level of detail, I think we're very fortunate as a fan base to see.
So, Cliff, when you look at today as maybe it's not the official start of the athletic season, but it is maybe the milestone start to the athletic season, we did want to give a hard sell opportunity for you to give fans an update on the collective. We released our annual report, which I think is a
Awesome job, by the way. Like, that was
shout
a
out to
great
Eric
read.
Pitzer.
Eric Pitzer
who
did
did
yeah,
an
it.
incredible
that was
job.
amazing.
And Jake did the majority of that work, and Eric designed it. Was the graphic
Check your
designer.
emails, fans. If
It
you
was,
donate collective,
outstanding.
you should get a copy
But
of
that
it.
was really a deliberate effort, obviously, to lead with transparency, because there are fans who want to know where their investment is going. We've been releasing our Montpelier Collective athletes over the past couple of days, more of those videos to come, because we want to show fans directly what impact they're making. Kind of your message to the fan base about why we cannot rest on our laurels and why we have to continue to push the envelope to get us to another level.
Yeah, like, people don't want to talk about sales, but I'm on here to ask for your money. So Michael actually sent to a group of us, sent a podcast from UNC Charlotte. And, everybody's talking about what Biff said in the press conference, but I wanted to listen to the NIL section of that. And they talked about Max Brown, who was a transfer from Florida, getting $300,000. I just walked this campus, beautiful campus. They have a 14,000 seat stadium, and they can pay their quarterback $300,000. We can't do that, by the way. and we won't be able to do it unless we raise more money. This is a school that, I'm going to be honest, we should be competing at a higher level, but they are fundraising at a much higher level than we are, which is 100% my fault since I am the fundraiser on the board. So it's going to take money, and I'm proud of what we did last year, the offers that we have out for this year. But I spoke to all of our student athletes a couple of weeks ago. We have 500 student athletes. Most of them, 90% of them, are not on an NIL deal. You heard Jake talk about our goals for this year. We would like to have every sport have at least one NIL athlete, one Montpelier collective athlete. So, look, it's imperative that if we're going to continue to grow, we can't rest on our laurels. And if you like being in everything school, we need to be in everything collective.
Well, then we need everybody to
Right.
give, because at the end of the day, we don't have Pat McAfee dropping $1 million. We don't have a donor here that's dropping $1 million in our NIL. What we can do, though, collectively as JMU Nation, is everybody give something. If you give something to the collective, we can get to the number. Right? We don't need somebody to give the $1 million. We just need multiple people to get us.
We'd
to
like
$1
them
million.
to, though, if they can.
I'll be happy.
Well,
There's somebody out there.
So Pat got famous on a podcast. So we need just to find somebody that runs a podcast that could give us $1 million.
Well, I was going to say,
So now looking to this side of the podcast.
well, I mean, we've played the game of, right? Like, I know that there's a certain Facebook group that has 25,000 people. What if they gave $100 each?
This
Or
show
10,
is
20
airing right now.
We're airing right
by the
now.
way.
Exactly. So, like, I'm just making it real for everyone that goes, okay, you said $300,000. That sounds like a big number for 90% of the fans. But together, everything. I love what you said. Everything collective. Like, how do we live and breathe that in our day-to-day lives, and how do we do that for something we're so passionate about? And I think that's how we make it happen.
Just everybody that goes to the game,
Yeah.
give $100. 26,000 people give $100
Or $10
for now.
right? Like,
I'll take whatever. Give whatever.
And
Give
also, but to really highlight why we've been so deliberate in featuring coaches on our program and the athlete spotlight each and every week is, don't take any of our word for it. We're on the board of the collective. We're obviously, bleeding purple every day, and we've embraced this movement. But listen to the coaches talking about specific numbers about how in volleyball, how the nation's top setter, what they're paying, what we heard from Coach Lauren Laporte about what softball players are now starting to get. And if we want to make trips to the College World Series again for softball, if we want our baseball team to continue to compete in regional every spring, if we want our football team to be able to go out and compete for top prospects in the country, we do have to reach that number, because at the end of the day, it does come to dollars and cents when you're dealing with some of these athletes. However, we're going to continue to recruit well. We're going to continue to find diamonds in the rough, but it is about having the resources that our coaches feel they have every opportunity to continue the success and to continue this momentum for our athletic programs.
And to add to that, I think Coach Chesney, I forgot about which interview it was. He talked about, we may not always get the tallest, the biggest, the fastest guy, but we're not going to miss on people. And I think that's the JMU way, right? When we look at like how the collective operates, giving back to the community, being part of the community, that's what this has been all about for the last, 18 to 24 months. I love that about him. And I think all of our coaches reflect the same narrative as well.
And look, you guys talked about the event last night, which shout out to the Duke Club and the Alumni Association for that. But a number of people came up to me, and some of them are concerned. They don't like this about college athletics. And I get it, but it's here and it's not going anywhere. So we can choose to ignore it, or we can choose to make it a JMU, a unique opportunity that only we have, like a collective that is unique to JMU. So everybody that has supported, I appreciate you. And we all appreciate everything that you've done for us. And those of you that we're about to contact, thanks in advance for your support.
And thank you for answering the phone.
Yes. And replying to a text.
Exactly. All right. Well, this is kind of the end of our show today, because we know a lot of people want to get out to the tailgates. We're going to tailgate here in the Charlotte area. Maybe, Cliff, your final word to just fans of JMU athletics as we start a new season of JMU football. Over 50 years now where this program has been an integral part of so many people's lives. Just where your head's at as we kick off the 2024 year.
I'm excited. I think this is, I think somebody said it earlier. It was like the first FBS game. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I couldn't be more excited or more proud of where we're going. So again, this is one game. No matter what happens today, I'm not going to be too excited or too down. But football Saturdays are here, and I can't wait.
Steve, your final thoughts.
I'm going to be really freaking excited, and I'm going to be over the freaking top. So I've got bail money for anybody that throws a streamer. If they try to throw you out or lock you up, I got you. And if they come after me, you're looking for a fight, 49ers. Bring it on. I'll do whatever I want to do if I want to throw a streamer. So bring it.
The good news is I know I'm faster than Steve, so he's definitely
That's
interested.
So,
Michael.
So Cliff mentioned, I did send a podcast out to the Alpha Dogs, and one thing they mentioned, they were like, I'm really curious how JMU is going to travel. And I thought that was really funny. I was like, man, like new fan base. They probably just watched football for the first time recently. Like they were like, how interested? Like they were like, how many people will we bring? And I think for the audacity to have an all gold out first game of the season.
Certainly going to make the popple perp.
Oh,
the
it's going to
purple
make
pop.
it's going to be beautiful. So I'm really excited to see what the stadium's going to look like. I think it's called Jerry Richardson. It's going to be a lot of purple there. We haven't played them in 10 years. We won 48-40 at a barn burner back in 2014 when we had Vadley as a quarterback. So I'm excited to see what we can do. I echo Steve's sentiment. I'm very excited and motivated and nervous. Like I've got those jitters like against Minnesota, not Minnesota, Middle Tennessee State in 2022. We had no idea what we're going to do. We had no idea how we're going to match up. And I think until we see them in that first quarter, like I'm going to have that same feeling from that on.
My final thought is just a thank you. Thank you to so many people who continue to make JMU athletics a part of their lives. Thank you for people who continue to support this program, support our podcast, support all of the content that's out there in the JMU universe. Special shout out to the Dave Riggerts of the world, the Katie Harpers, the other podcasts, JMU Sports Box, Sports News, who continue to make great content. Delvin Joyce now getting into the podcast game. We know there's a real community that's creating content each and every week, and that is because this is a healthy program. Healthy programs only exist because of people like you who are watching this program. To our sponsors, Skyline Financial Partners, Where's Woody, Talent Corps, Shoker Enterprises, YourPurpleNation.com, the collective, obviously, which we've talked a lot about today. I was going to leave that for last. Just hold on. It's been a commercial for the whole show. Let's just be honest. That's why this show is able to happen. That's why we're able to bring athletes on each and every week. We will be back tomorrow for our recap. On Sunday, we're going to have a new segment with a player of the week. We're going to highlight things to our friends at Skyline Financial Partners. But again, thank you for joining us on this journey this season. We're excited for tonight's game and excited for another season of JMU football. And with that, we will see you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. for another episode of JMU Sound Off. Go Dukes, enjoy the game. 8 p.m. tonight on ESPNU.